This is the Michael Batson Show. Who do the Heat run? This is an interesting question because I know we like to think of it, and as Miami won 111-108 games, or series is tied one apiece, head to Miami for games 3 and 4. I know we like to think of it as Jimmy Butler's a star. But is he just the closer? And as I think, and as I've watched the last few games, I think the offense more actually relies on Bam Adebayo. I think Jimmy Butler is a closer. I think Jimmy Butler is what you're supposed to think of when you think of the Heat. I think it worked for Miami's advantage. Because I think the real player and the real kind of momentum changer in that offense is Bam Adebayo. Because the Miami Heat like screens. High screens, pick and rolls. Bam Adebayo is in charge of that. And I think Miami is deadliest when they could go to the hoop, pick and roll, Bam Adebayo gets it inside. And I think when Bam Adebayo's jump shot is working, it's really tough to guard. He's really good in the paint. He can sink that shot. He's tall. He can dunk the ball. And I wonder, as I saw Game 2, when Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo had the same amount of points, Butler had 21 quiet points. He had 19 attempts. He had 5 threes. He made 2 of them. But Bam did the dirty work. Bam had 5 assists, 4 rebounds. He did the dirty work, and it gets unnoticed because Jimmy Butler, people think he's a star of this team, and, he has the best comebacks because he is the closer. But I think when Adebayo isn't on the floor, and you look at a guy like Zeller, an undrafted guy who's solid, he does enough, this team doesn't function. But when you take Jimmy out of the equation and you put in Vincent, who had 23, the offense sometimes works better and it looks better. Because I think, and what I'm trying to say here is I think the offense actually runs through Bam. I think this whole pick and roll game does not work unless Bam is on the floor, and obviously it does not work. But I think Bam is underappreciated, and I think it works to the Heat's. I think it works for the Heat because when you think of the Miami Heat, you think of Jimmy Butler, especially in these playoffs, especially in last playoffs. But I think when you get to the third quarter and you're worn out of guarding Jimmy Butler and he sits down, you forgot about Bam Adebayo, who's, I think, just as good of a playmaker as Jimmy Butler. And when you're tired, he'll give you a high pick and roll. He'll get in the paint, dunk the ball, pull up for a mid-range jump shot. And I think Adebayo, I think it works to the success, and I think it's a good plan for the Heat to keep him under cover because when it's the fourth quarter, Bam comes alive. When they need a spark, Bam comes alive. When they need a momentum strike, Bam comes alive. And I think, here's a hot take, I think that the Heat's success, yes, Jimmy got them here, and yes, Jimmy closes the game and gets all the credit, and he should, but I think Bam Adebayo needs more credit because he had 21 points. He has a lot of dunks, and I get how he is kind of an underrated guy, and it's partly because he doesn't play the position that centers play anymore. He pulls up for the mid-range jump shot. And I think a lot of his talent is shadowed by Jimmy Butler. But I'm here to say I think that he makes as much of a difference to the Heat as Jimmy Butler. Because when his jump shot is falling, and I get that he's a streaky shooter, but when his jump shot is falling, and you have to guard him off the baseline to the perimeter, you have to stay with him through the pick and roll game, and then defend him when he puts his head down, dribbles the ball, and goes into the paint, that's tough. So I'd like to see more Bam and the recognition that he will get. Because I think Bam, what I saw from him this game, is as impressive as I saw from Jimmy Butler. They got the same amount of points. On social media, Jimmy Butler will get more amount of credit, and Gabe Vincent will likely get more amount of credit, but Bam does the dirty work. Bam gets the quiet points. Bam got the dunks. Bam got the rebounds. This is basically an appreciation video for Bam Adebayo. Appreciation video. I think Bam's doing one hell of a job as Miami ties the series at 1 apiece.